We have quite an interesting trade here between the New York Rangers and the Vancouver Canucks, and it's involving Rangers player Vitaly Kravtsov. The Canucks are getting Kravtsov in exchange for an AHL player named Will Lockwood and a 2026 seventh round pick. Despite a small return, which personally I'm not a fan of, this trade actually helps the Rangers in a few ways. As everyone should know by now, the Rangers seem to be the team that will pretty much be acquiring Blackhawks superstar Patrick Kane by the deadline. However, the Rangers need to get rid of two guys in order to make this move happen, and they have done just that. They have put Jake Leschyshyn on waivers and have finally traded Kravtsov, so all that is left is for Kane to have his contract retained, another team to retain 25% of it, Chicago to get the return, and boom, he's in New York. This also helps the Rangers finally end their problems with Vitaly Kravtsov. If you guys somehow haven't heard by now, Kravtsov has mainly struggled in New York. Kravtsov, who's 6'3", 189 pounds, and 23 years of age, was the ninth overall pick in the 2018 NHL Draft. He made his NHL debut on April 3rd, 2021 against the Buffalo Sabres and would go on to record 4 points for the rest of the year. It was 2 goals and 2 assists over the span of 20 games. He was then loaned to Traktor Chelyabinsk in the KHL and played 19 games for them in the following season. This year, Kravtsov rejoined the Rangers and has played in 28 games, recording just 6 points, 3 goals, and 3 assists. When the Rangers acquired Vladimir Tarasenko from the Blues, Kravtsov lost a spot on the team and therefore requested a trade out of New York. But the agonizing part of his whole story is that he's been this way for at least 3 years now. Since the Rangers lineups were pretty much 90% of the time full, Kravtsov was on the outside looking in. He begged his coaches for opportunities, and whenever he got them, he just never managed to really prove his worth, and this was the case for both coaches he played under, as David Quinn and Gerard Gallant would often become fed up with his wants. So it's good that he gets a fresh start somewhere else because New York just wasn't the place for him whatsoever. The Rangers received Will Lockwood, who was the Canucks' third-round pick back in 2016. Now, if I'm being honest, I've never heard of this guy in my life, but seeing his stats in junior and with the University of Michigan, he could very well bring something to the table in the future. He's a right-handed 24-year-old who's 5'11" and 185 pounds and plays on the right wing. He played 4 seasons with Michigan in the NCAA, where in his final year, he was named the captain, and he was mostly a 15 to 30 point player there. But then he got called up to the NHL with Vancouver, where he played just 13 games, went pointless there, and obviously that resulted in him getting sent down to the AHL in the 2020-21 season. There in Abbotsford, he recorded 25 points in 46 games, which wasn't bad for a guy getting his first taste of the pros. Last year, he recorded his first NHL point, which was an assist, and got sent to Abbotsford again, where he managed to get 18 points in 26 games for the 2021-2022 season. So now here he is in New York, and I'm personally not too sure what his future is going to be like here. Maybe he gets traded for a draft pick in June or something like that. Who really knows? What's really concerning to me is how Chris Drury, right, the Rangers GM, he basically traded our top 10 prospect from our draft 4 years ago, not that long ago, for essentially nothing. I mean, look, everyone has their respective opinions, but this trade in virtue is really nothing. Will Lockwood doesn't give the Rangers any sort of benefit right now, and the 7th round pick has no value until 2026, and even then will probably have no value. I mean, look at 7th round picks. They make the NHL like 10% of the time, compared to like prospects like Vitaly Kravtsov, who's a first-round pick inside the top 10, where they're going to make the NHL maybe say 80% of the time, right? So it's a little weird with that, but I would just assume that Drury wanted to get rid of him to focus more on the potential Kane trade, which at the time of this recording has not happened yet. But still, come on, man. At least get like a 3rd-round pick or even a 2nd-round pick. Kravtsov isn't a bust of all sorts. He could very well pop off with the Canucks for several reasons. With guys like Garland and Besser on their ways out, this will allow Kravtsov to get the chance to play more minutes and hopefully keep a roster spot. As of right now, I could maybe see Rick Tocchet putting Kravtsov in the lineup to see what he does, since the season, in essence, isn't really headed in the right direction for the Canucks, but still, why not give it a shot? I mean, the Canucks have several young Russian players on their team who are actually friends with Vitaly Kravtsov, and Andrei Kuzmenko, Ilya Mikheyev, and Vasily Podkolzin, who can maybe create some sort of Russian line. Wait, no, they can't. None of them are centers. Oops. But we could still see 2 lines with all 4 wingers being the Russian guys, and maybe Miller and Pettersson centering those 2 lines or something like that. Maybe the Canucks get the 2nd overall pick and draft Mishkov. I mean, that too would be insane, but it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Kravtsov, as I firmly believe he can become a great player in the NHL. It was just a bad timing for his upcoming when the Rangers had already figured out their team. When he was NHL ready, the Rangers already had Hedl becoming their 3rd-line center, Kakko was just drafted, and Panarin had signed that long-term contract, not to mention how Elias Anderson was taking over that 4th-line center spot, which pretty much left Kravtsov with nothing. So in the end, yeah, I'll just agree right now that the Canucks absolutely fleeced the Rangers here, and I'm a Rangers fan myself saying this. We traded a top 10 prospect for virtually nothing, and it's the right move to make for our Patrick Kane quest, as well as getting Kravtsov a fresh start. I will not be surprised if he starts becoming really good in Vancouver. So let me know what you guys think of this Vitaly Kravtsov trade. How do we see him in Vancouver? Let me know. Otherwise, thank you guys for tuning in and have a wonderful day.